We have our first shoujo manga review of my event for 25 days of shoujo manga, and I didn't do it on purpose, but I feel like this could be considered a problematic shoujo, and that's just how we're going to kick off for all the reviews I want to do. Hello friends, so excited that you're here, so excited that 25 days of manga is fully underway. If you haven't already, be sure to vote in my form that I have of what you feel was the best debut manga, manhwa, light novel of 2025. I have that form down below, and if you're curious about everything that's going to be happening this month, be sure to check out this video here that is the official kickoff. Again, this was not the manga I was planning to do to start off the video reviews because I sort of want to do every Friday and Saturday of this month. I wanted to do a review. That's the goal. Hopefully everything goes well and everything just goes well. But I recently, I don't know what happened. I came across this earlier this year and I saw it and I was like, you know what? I used to have this and then I was influenced to get rid of it for, we won't even go into that. And so I was like, you know, I'm going to come back to it, see what my thoughts were. I found out when I was leaving my reviews on Goodreads that I read this back in 2021. I was like, oh my goodness, it's been 4 years. And the series I'm talking about is, I have it upside down, is the Heiress and the Chauffeur. This is a 2-volume series. I borrowed it from my library, but let me tell you right now, I plan to get these copies for myself because being back with these characters was everything. I really am glad that I gave this series, I guess, like a second chance. Really didn't even need to give it a second chance because I should have just already had it. But in case if you're not familiar with this series, it is about our main female lead, Sayaka, and she is a daughter at this very prestigious elite all-girls school, and she has this red ribbon in her hair to signify that she is like the ultimate model student. She's at the top of her class and she is doing fantastic. This here though, this man here, Narutaki, he sort of ruins her prestigious image that she has of being the all-perfect girl because he is her chauffeur and he doesn't really keep himself together very well. He's always getting in trouble by her for not having, wearing his hat, not having his tie on properly, and just not dressing, like he'd be looking like this, okay? He'd be looking like this when she comes to get to the car and she's like, you can't do that because people are gonna think things. But the thing is, she has sort of been left by herself. Her mother passed away when she was a young girl due to a sort of like freak construction accident that happened, and her mother ended up passing away from that, but she lived, but she has like this permanent scar on her leg, so she sometimes has a little bit of trouble walking, will be a little bit wobbly or just randomly fall due to this injury that she received. Her father is not in the picture. She is an heiress, as the title says, but he is off in America while she's at home, and she is just striving to earn his approval by being the top model student, but nothing seems to be enough. But when she starts realizing her feelings for her chauffeur might not be actually sibling love, she starts questioning what does she want to do when her father, this is later on in the series, but her father's like, hey, this potential match for an arranged marriage is coming, do a great job. But yeah, things don't go as planned because she realizes she has feelings for her chauffeur. But let's rewind because that's sort of like a general blurb for both volumes. I love this series so much. I honestly do not care if it's problematic. It has an age gap, yes. I feel like some other elements, like our male lead here, is very much a masochist. Like very, very struggling. I think one of the notes, because there's sidebars in this manga, which was so exciting. One of the, I think it's her assistant, or it was the editor, they're like, he is a trained one, very, very well. And ultimately, yes. I don't know how realistic this manga is, and even the creator mentions that in her sidebars and at the end of the series, but it has the forbidden love that has a happy ending, and I love volume 1, but volume 2 is legitly everything. It just brought me so much joy and happiness, and really I feel like everything is just amping up because I really love, I forgot to mention, this takes place during the Taisho era. I honestly love the introduction. It sort of starts off as a one-shot and then it gradually continues until it had a serialization of 2 volumes. Also, this was the creator's first published work as a actual manga, so that was pretty cool as well. But I love the whole setting, but honestly, I just really, I guess during this time, and honestly didn't have to be during a certain time era, we're seeing that today where maybe not social standing per se, but a lot of racial tension and political tension where people are saying you can't be with this person because you're too different for XYZ reason, at least in modern times, but during Sayaka's time in this manga, that people are like, you and your chauffeur cannot be this close because they really do act very closely, but she doesn't have any romantic feelings for him. Here's an example right here. She is viewing him sort of as an older brother, and it's not really until people start saying, hey, you cannot be acting this close to your chauffeur. Oh, and here's another one, and thinking that people are not going to say anything, that people are not going to talk because you're the top model student and we need you to get your chauffeur to get his act together so that you can look better. Otherwise, your red ribbon, which she has worked so hard for the sake of her father's approval and trying to get his love, that will be taken away from you ultimately. And there's so many times I definitely do not feel like Sayaka is a damsel in distress, but due to her injury and not being able, yes, she can walk fast, but I wouldn't go as far as say as she can run. And when there's things that happen, like there was sort of a bump into the wall where there was a giant dresser or drawer kind of thing. I don't think it was a bookcase, but it almost fell on her friend. And so the first person that she always calls is her chauffeur. He goes above and beyond, and we could see from the very beginning that he definitely has romantic feelings for her. Like, he loves his mistress. He goes above and beyond what is honestly expected of him. And there's definitely moments, like this is a great time, this happens in the first chapter, where we can see, yes, he really does love her. Don't worry, he did not kiss her when she was sleeping here. I actually love the dilemma that comes out of this because there is an antagonist character in the beginning who is so wonderful. I think her name is Miss Miki. Oh my goodness, their friendship together, yeah, you can see her right here. Their friendship together was so beautiful, and I really love how the creator helped this one antagonist character really transform and shine by the end of the series, of how she really helps our 2 leads. Despite this, she's always having these little comments of, especially, she's very big about social standing because she's an earl, and she's like, look, Sayaka, you can never be with your chauffeur. And the funny thing is like, our female lead, she's a little bit naive, and I did find her relatable in that sense because there's certain comments dropped and she's like, I don't understand. And even Narutaki's like, she didn't get it. She didn't get what I meant. But the thing is, I would say all of that leads to what made, I feel like, our heroine so compelling, is that she really hears all this talk, especially from Miss Miki and from the head person of this school that she's at, them saying there's social standards you cannot go past, or these society standards, I mean, you can't go, social standings, I could talk, that you can't go and find a match outside of this social standing. You could just never do that. But Sayaka is like, why not? She challenges these ideas over and over, whether that's through her actions, because there is a scene where Narutaki, he gets into some big trouble and he needs to be whipped for what he did, like just his hands, like with the switch. She is appalled. She is shocked that her actions as an heiress, it would lead not to her getting consequences for what she's done, but her servant instead. And she is so upset about this. And there was a time in this first volume where I was like, girl, don't treat him differently because of what happened, but because of this fear, because in her household with her other servants, she's very close to everybody. She views them as family because her father was just not in the picture except for writing letters to her, not telling her that he's proud of her for any of the accomplishments that she has. So she doesn't view this social standing that supposedly is forbidden in itself and not acknowledged. You understand me? I feel like I said that weird. Like, she doesn't acknowledge it, but everybody else does. And everybody else is like, you need need to acknowledge it. And so when that moment comes for her, it was very pivotal where she starts slowly changing. I would not say in a bad way though, but that's when she is wondering, like right here, where she's wondering, where does she go from here? Is what everybody's saying really that big of a deal? And that leads later into volume 2, where when she realizes, oh, I truly do love this man and I want to be with him. I don't want to view him as a sibling, because that was something that sort of, trying to think of how to say it without giving spoilers, when this guy's like, hey, let's have this arranged marriage and you can just have this sibling on the side and I'll protect you. And she's like, I don't want that. I want to genuinely be with him as a lover. When they go off somewhere and they get discovered, she's afraid that she is going to be called back home by the cops, more or less. And she's asking, why can't we just hold hands? Why can't we just hug? Why can't we be together in public and it be okay? And even when they go out on this, a certain character that they meet, which was a very brief moment, it's like, hey, is he sort of like roping you into this, sort of kidnapped you kind of thing? And she's like, no, she's here of her own free will. But again, going back to what society is saying, there's no consequences ever for her actions. And it's always to blame on her chauffeur. And so I love how she challenges what the people around her are telling her and how ultimately that leads to the end, because her and her father, or her view of her father, I should say, it was a very, I don't want to say a stumbling block, but she is so focused at times on getting his potential approval that she can't think about what she would like to do for herself. And I love how our male lead is constantly reminding her, I'll do whatever you ask me. You tell me what your orders are. And even later, he's like, hey, you make the choice of what you want to do, which goes against everything that was being said. Because if we go back to volume 1, the girls at the school are having this tea. They're all saying, well, I expect to have an arranged marriage. That's what's expected of me. And when one girl says, well, hey, I would like to be a working woman, I don't even want to get married. And they're like, that is commoner way of thinking. The person who said, like, please. No, but in that time, that sounds like it was really, really valid. So there is this constant, outside of any romantic tension or just things between our leads, they're consistently going against Sayaka in everything that she might personally believe and stand for. It was so good in that regard. I wish I would have actually written down some of the things that she says, because she really is this courageous character that really wants to make a bold stand, not just for herself, but for these very lower people that she cares about, that are treasures to her personally. Which leads me to go into the romance of why I love this forbidden romance so very much. Yes, it's got that age gap. I didn't feel like anything inappropriate ever happened, but if you don't like age gap manga, can't say I would necessarily recommend this to you, because it is a factor from start to finish, because they do meet when they were younger. So this wasn't like a love that just came out of nowhere where her feelings awakened because she just met the chauffeur. No, they have literally sort of grown up as siblings. But again, I don't feel like this is some kind of incest or weird kind of relationship. It was always very one-sided for her, and she even mentions at one point that she can't imagine being with anybody. It's really till she starts thinking she might have to be with somebody and lose her chauffeur when things are start like, oh, I don't know if I want to leave this person I treasure and care for. And who should she see? Narutaki's face every single time. So I love how they had to her specifically had to overcome these obstacles that society again has placed upon them. Narutaki has loved her deeply from the start. I mean, he is a very fun and interesting character, and I could not get enough of him. And anytime those romantic moments were happening, y'all, my heart was swooning. He's a handsome young man. And I really love the creator's sidebars of where she was like, at one point, she's like, I just wanted to have a younger female lead sort of be able to, oh gosh, what's the word that she used? Be able to handle an older man, so to speak. And I feel like our female lead does that very well. And I love the moment in this where I do feel like this scene especially is where she starts having that realization that a young woman would not view her brother the same way that she is viewing him. When she has a bout of jealousy, when it comes up when this other character, you can even see it, comes on the scene. I love again of how she has that awakening. I feel like the creator mentioned somewhere that she felt that she wished, our female lead would realize her feelings sooner, but I feel like it was the perfect time, honestly. I really love how it just took her all of volume 1 to think about what everybody else is saying and slowly realize when it came to volume 2 of what do I feel? What do I want to say about this? It was no longer about what everybody else is doing. And I don't know if it was this volume, but when I was talking about her father before and she's here, look at this hug. Look at this beautiful moment. And the thing is too, with the forbidden romance, when she becomes aware of everything that's happening, again, what society is saying, and then when she has a potential husband from through an arranged marriage, that's when she realizes maybe what she's wanting is wrong. But the thing is Narutaki being not obsessed, because that would sound like he's having bad behavior, but he just loves her so much that he's willing to go down any path for her. And I was like, the swoon, the swoon, the swoon. And so this was one of those moments where she's starting to realize that this could be the wrong thing. But going back to the father thing, I apologize that this review is all over the place. Man, I don't have the scene here, because there's a scene where they're on the bench. Narutaki even asks her directly of, what is it that you want? And it's like she just has this moment where you can see her spiraling. It's only just like 2-3 panels, but she's saying, Father, Father, Father is watching. He sees. And so I love that Narutaki really was there to help her through all of these moments, to help her realize and see that there's people directly around her who care for her, that they're not off in some other country working hard for the family and them not even seeming to genuinely care for her. And I do love how it did not excuse any of the actions or lack of actions by Sayaka's father. I do love at the very end that he does say why he was not involved. It did not make it right, but I did appreciate as a reader of having that knowledge of where the heck was he? What was he doing? Why was he off in America? And so forth. But I really feel like if you love forbidden romance, it only gets more swoony as it goes. Now, it gets hard too, I feel like, because when she has not just the awakening for her feelings, and the moment was so good, when she finally says things like, yes, yes, I was eating, I was having a great time. But also when she realizes she wants to be with him, but not at the risk of losing everything either. And so it seemed for the briefest of moments where I'm like, oh my goodness, like, please tell me that the ship is still gonna sail. Like, please, I'm begging. And when it gets to the final moment where you're seeing everything come together, not just for a day or two, but where is going. It was perfection. I loved how it all came together. I love seeing Sayaka really stand her ground. Narutaki, I feel like didn't have like this overall character growth, not in a bad way. He didn't digress or progress. He stayed the same, and I felt like that just worked so well for this 2-volume series, so we could see Sayaka grow as the heroine, grow as a young woman, grow as a person, grow as a young woman who is in love. It was such a wonderful story that I loved how everything came together, and just the romance, I was like, apparently I have a thing for this. I don't know if, I guess maybe forbidden, but where you feel like it could be probably in any time era. It doesn't have to be in the past, because I think of Golden Japanesque, which I have a review of volume 1 in this channel. I wish we could get the final volume, but anyway. But that series had it too, where it's just like you have 2 different main characters coming together. Society's saying, no, you can't be together, but their hearts are saying, I want to be together. So if you have any recommendations like that, don't hesitate to let me know. I don't know, I think it's just something really beautiful standing up against these challenges that the world would say no, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna fight back and we're gonna say yes. And then to see that happy ending, because I need a happy ending with that wreck, by the way, please. No tragedy here for my heart. No, no, no. And that's why I am deciding to get the series back on my shelf, because last night after I read it, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna flip through it again and see all these wonderful moments, because the smile right here, like she's so so happy, but society doesn't want her to be happy. So again, just rising up against that, getting that happy ending. The art was really, really great. I can't say that I feel led or compelled to pick up Prince Freya because I know that series is very, very much different. And I have reviewed, I think I reviewed volume 1 on Beneath the Tangles on their YouTube channel. If I did, I'll leave it linked in the corner. It was just such a beautiful series, and I loved how it all came together and seeing our Sayaka grow so much just in the short time. Maybe not like, maybe it's a little bit exaggerated, but I feel like it for her, it was a big deal. And I loved as a reader being on this journey with her, being able to root for her, seeing in the bonus story of where things are. That was the perfect added touch. Getting the sidebars. Who else misses the sidebars in manga? Like, I miss that a lot. I miss that a lot. So it was great to have that as well. So I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for a historical romance that's not necessarily based off of accurate historical things. Though the creator did mention that there are 2 different incidents that inspired the direction and the base, not the direction, but the, oh yeah, but the basis of the story. That part is true. She tells you near the end of volume 2, I believe. But yeah, if you want that historical romance and you want some forbidden romance, don't mind an age gap, and really, again, as I think I said probably a whole bunch of challenging society and what they say you can and cannot do. This is a series I totally think you should give a try. It's only 2 volumes. Volume 1 does have a separate bonus story, short story that's not related to the Heiress and the Chauffeur. I didn't read it because I don't typically read most short stories that are included in these volumes. I'm sorry, I've just always been that way, and I tried breaking it, but I'm like, I'm too much in my feelings for the Heiress and the Chauffeur to move on to something else. So I will stop my ramblings there. If you've read this series, let me know what you think. Are you interested in this? Do you enjoy reading historical romances? I feel like they're very, considering I used to read a lot of those when I was a novel reader, it is very strange to me that I haven't read that many in my manga. So yeah, let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!